Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
And I'm kind of interested to know what's motivating you now. I know that sounds like a stupid question, but you've been to 3 straight Grey Cups. Are you hearing the people that say they're getting old, they're over the hill, that that's past, or is there something else motivating you?
Well, I mean, I think as a professional athlete or even an athlete that plays a sport, like, yeah, you want to have fun, sure, but you also play to win. You play to win a championship because you're a competitor. And we got a locker room full of competitors that the only reason we play this game is to win the Grey Cup. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, yeah, we provide for our families, but you're not satisfied, not winning at all. It's a failure. So for that reason alone, I mean, I know that's why we have been so successful, because we have so many competitors that, aren't waiting for motivation. The motivation is inside of them. And, that's a key differentiator, I think, having the right group of guys. And in terms of, these guys are getting old, this and that, I mean, you can say what you want, but I think our record speaks for itself, guys are still playing at an extremely high level. People can latch on to whatever, tagline, headline that they want, but, we're playing good football, and, you still have to respect that.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's very clear to me. What I say last hour, Darren, I see things before everybody else, and everybody calls me crazy, and then what I say comes to fruition, and nobody comes back and apologizes and goes, yeah, you were right.
How about that?
Like, I mean, nobody. But I'm used to it. I don't get upset about it anymore.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Not only am I used to it, it doesn't bother me anymore either. Welcome inside, everybody. A Football Friday here on your favorite daytime sports talk show. We're coming at you live in a variety of forms. Game Plus TV. We're on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE. Got a big one this week for the Dirty Birds, the Falcons, at the Cardinals. Yeah, it's a Football Friday, so we're going to be playing NFL Deal or No Deal coming up. We got a bevy of great guests, including our next guy, Darren Moose DuPont. He joins us from Vancouver, where he will call the Hardy Cup, the Western Canadian University Football Championship on Saturday, and we're going to talk about that a little later on here in the Quick Six. Moose, you've had what looks like a fantastic week in Vancouver. Tell us about it. Give us an update on your life.
It's been awesome. Yeah, it's been great being out here on the West Coast. I mean, I don't hate the rain. I always say, and you maybe, I don't know what it's like in Florida because I haven't seen a lot of rain, but the difference being in Ontario and being in Vancouver versus being in the prairies, it rains straight down and you can use an umbrella. In the prairies, the wind's going and it's coming in sideways and there's no, yeah, people will know what I mean that are watching from those provinces. But so it's been nice. Lots of time outside. The leaves are beautiful, fall colors. Got to see the ocean a little bit and ready for a good football game Saturday.
I love it. It's funny you say that, and we'll very quickly get into the topics because Moose is only here right now for one segment, then Jim Barker's moving in. But you ask here, the rain here, number one, it's 33 degrees Celsius. I'm not joking. I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's like the 90s. It's hot as balls. A lot of fat guys are making gravy right now. You know what I mean down here, Moose? But when it does rain, it's warm rain. And when it storms, the wind does come sideways. And we've seen it on this show, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But it's fun getting to know the weather in a new region. And it's funny you bring that up because I was telling you before the show, when I was home this summer for a wedding, my cousin Michelle said, it's like you have a fresh start in Florida, a whole new life. I'm like, yes, I do. And it's good and bad. One of the good things is this lady was just saying to Serena this morning, a friend of hers, who's that guy that's with you on the Panthers podcast? He never says his name. And she's like, oh, that's Rod. And I'm like, After 35 years, I arrogantly felt I didn't need to say my name. This is the Rod Pedersen Show. The hockey fans here have no idea who this boob is. So, yeah, it's starting all over. It's actually kind of fun. But anyways, for the football crowd that showed up, can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? Or no, Tuna. I'm sorry, Jordan partied so hard. Jordan partied so hard on his birthday last night, he couldn't make it into work today. So take it up with him. Because it is a football Friday, and trust me, we're going to get to Hurricane Connor hitting Florida last night. We start with Thursday Night Football. Donta Foreman ran for a touchdown, and the Chicago Bears boosted their shot at the top pick in the NFL draft, beating the Carolina Panthers 16-13 on Thursday Night Football. The 3-7 Bears boosted their chances at the number 1 pick because they own Carolina's first rounder in 2024. They acquired the pick along with DJ Moore last March for the top selection this year. The 1-8 Panthers are tied with Arizona for the worst record in the NFL. I'm not going to talk anymore about that game. I know it's kind of hard to get your mind around it. And it's over, so let's look ahead to the rest of Week 10 in the NFL. And that's our poll question today. What is the game of the week? America's Game of the Week in the National Football League. Our poll questions brought to you daily by Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. And, I voted for San Francisco at Jacksonville. I think it's 5 wins in a row for the Jaguars. The 49ers have lost 3 in a row, so it's very interesting to see how that may shake down. But that's my vote. Moose, what are yours? I also have in there Indianapolis versus New England. That's the Germany game in Frankfurt. Your Titans are at Tampa. What a nice little sports weekend this would have been. Come on down to Tampa, catch the Chicago Blackhawks there Thursday, then catch the Bucks and the Titans. Is that your game of the week, or clearly the Titans are in rebuild mode, so are you focusing on something else?
No, I'm focused on Will Levis being handed the reins as the starting quarterback. That's interesting to me. And I know we'll play Deal or No Deal later, but Kyler Murray's going to start for the Cardinals. He's been scheduled now. I just saw this morning to get the start in that game against the Falcons. Jets and Raiders has some intrigue. Lions, Chargers. I really like Baltimore, Cleveland. Baltimore has quickly become one of the best teams in the National Football League. And Cleveland, with Deshaun Watson back, he's maybe finding his way. But they've got one of the best defenses in the National Football League. So I'm curious to see what they can do to slow down Lamar Jackson.
Actually, that Baltimore-Cleveland game pitched the 2 best defenses in the NFL. So I should have probably put that in the poll, but oops, I did it again. And it's interesting just with the Cardinals. I mean, we could sit here and talk about the National Football League for 2 hours, but there's enough shows doing that. But I got enough friends in Arizona. I thought that's where I was going to end up for the rest of my life. So I follow the Cardinals quite closely, and their fans and some media are now saying, "We don't want to win. Don't play Kyler. We don't want to win. Season's over. We want the number 1 overall pick." So. What a grease fire. Moving on to point 2. Things are only getting worse for the Edmonton Oilers. They fell 3-2 to the San Jose Sharks. Yeah. Who entered Thursday's game having just won their first game after dropping 11 to open the year. Oilers have now lost 4 straight. That was the game of the night as voted by our viewers yesterday, an audience, and I don't even know. Like, I've paid enough attention to this Oiler thing. I'm not seeing anybody say what the road out is. Woodcroft doesn't know. They demoted Jack Campbell that clearly didn't do anything. Stuart Skinner. They didn't even give up 20 shots last night. He let in 5 goals on 18 shots? No, sorry, 3 goals on 18 shots. Whatever it is, he was out goaltended last night. I'm kind of tired of the Edmonton narrative because they don't even know what they're doing.
I know. It is beyond being shocked anymore. It's beyond, the reaction. It is just bad. It is just bad. It's over, But it's not like they put up a bunch of shots. They came out and did what they needed to do early, but then all of a sudden it's these defensive zone lapses. It's guys not skating. They showed a shift I saw on social, like Draisaitl, just floating around. Something's not clicking with these guys. Mentally, they're not engaged in that side of the ice. I don't know what the road out is, but at some point they're going to do
Yeah,
something.
neither do I. Neither do they. Yeah, you don't know, I don't know, they don't know. Let's move on. Kyle Connor scored a hat trick and added 1 assist in leading the Winnipeg Jets to a 6-3 victory over the Nashville Predators. Connor is now up to 5 goals in his last 2 games. And speaking of Connor, we finished watching the last episode of the morning show last night, flipped it on for the last 5 minutes of the first period of the Chicago Blackhawks at the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. Connor Bedard already had a goal and an assist by then. He finished the night with 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points for Connor Bedard. Hurricane Connor hit the state of Florida, and they'll be here on Sunday. I can't wait. I'm taking my good friend Scott to the game Sunday. Serena's going to be in the press box. I've been waiting for this game for months. Chicago Blackhawks at Florida Panthers on Sunday. I'm very happy. And I'm going to move on to football now. And we'll preview the division final weekend more with Jim Barker next segment. What I want to get in, let's just say this. Toronto home to Montreal Saturday. I just saw the tweet from Hoagie, the voice of the Argos. It's going to be the largest crowd in BMO history. And they'll probably win. The point spread has swelled to 11-point favorites. The Argos are now. Winnipeg is still a 5-point favorite over BC in the West Final. But, Darren, I want your point on this because people need to get clarified on something. I don't care who the next coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders is. I don't care. And I got testy with some people yesterday because I said, somebody's lying here. And I don't like being used. You know, I'll put stuff out there for you if you want, which, by the way, Henry Burris did not put me up to that report a couple of weeks ago. But I'm kind of over it. And the thing with Paul LaPolice, though, if he was hired, and I think he would be a great hire, actually he checks every box. I'm was briefly having a Twitter back and forth with somebody this morning. I'm like, no, I don't care. Don't come at me that the fans don't want Paul LaPolice because he's been fired twice in the CFL. When did that matter? My God, in the coaching fraternity and even in the broadcasting fraternity, they say you haven't arrived till you've been fired. How many times has Peter Laviolette been fired? Oh. He's just one example. Been fired in Philly, fired in Washington, fired in Carolina. Now he's got the Rangers, top 5 team in the NHL. Guy, Tortorella in Philadelphia. He's been fired everywhere. No, I did win a Stanley Cup. I get that. And so did Laviolette. I understand that. But just because you were fired twice, I don't want to get in arguments with people because, again, I don't really care. But do you go along with this narrative that Paul LaPolice was fired twice as a head coach, so he'll never be hired again? I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think he'll be hired again. I think he'll have another shot. I've gone on record, and I've been on this show as saying, do I think his next shot will be as a head coach? Probably not. I think he probably gets hired as a coordinator first, but he'll be successful at that, and then probably get another shot to be a head coach. I mean, being fired is not an indictment of your ability as a coach, because every coach gets fired. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's coaches out there, sure, that have never been fired, but they're young and they're in their first job. Like, every coach gets fired at some point somewhere. So I don't think that should be held against them.
Well, and, you know, the further thing, people don't understand. You know, Jim Barker's in here next, and he's never worked in Saskatchewan. Wally Buono never worked in Saskatchewan, and he said, you know, that was one of his regrets he wished he had. I'm like, guys, you don't understand what it's like. It's a wonderful place, but it can drive you out of your mind. And I'll give you an example why. Like the guy that I was not arguing with, but having a debate on Twitter this morning, he goes, the fans don't want LaPolice. I said, are the fans doing the hiring? But in a way, I kind of get what he was saying because the fans influence decisions in that town, very similar to what I think the fans influence the Toronto Maple Leafs and what they do. You can't tell me they don't. And the Flames, too. Like, if I actually thought that they weren't listening to talk radio and reading the papers, the owners, the GMs, the coach, but they are. They are, right? And in those markets, the tail wags the dog. And I guess if you want to let the fans have a sway on who you hire, then that's how you have 4 Grey Cups in 110 years of existence. Should the fans have a say on this?
No.
Of course not.
Long story short, they shouldn't. Like, not a chance. No.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say. They shouldn't have a say.
Well, no, but why am I in a debate with somebody? The fans don't want them. I don't care. I'm done talking about it. As a matter of fact, I am. Move on to what you're doing this weekend. It's broadcasting the Hardy Cup, UBC Thunderbirds, Alberta Golden Bears. I bring that up because you'll be broadcasting it on this very channel, TELUS Optic TV across Alberta and BC, 924, if that's where you're watching from. Sask, channel 427. Well, I guess, no, you won't be on Game Plus, but you will be on this cable carrier. How about that? And a guy wrote me from Victoria. He's a sailor. He's in the Royal Canadian Navy, and I hadn't heard from him for a long time. But he goes, this game deserves to be on national television. Agree or disagree, Rod? And I said, well, let's be happy that it's on television. Darren's calling it, along with Darren DuPont, and I love that whole crew that's producing it. It's on. Major Junior Hockey isn't even on. You know, and I said it's a chicken and the egg argument. If Sportsnet and TSN felt that they would get an audience, they would air it. I guess CBC does the Vanier Cup now. But I always watch these games, but I don't know what it's going to take to get Joe Blow, Susie Six-Pack, to watch them. I don't know. Does this game deserve to be on national television, the Canada West Championship? Or please tell me you're just like me, very grateful that you're calling it anywhere.
Well, of course I'm grateful that it's on. You know, to answer the question, yeah, it deserves to be on. It's a great game. It's going to be awesome. The entertainment's going to be
No, does it deserve to be on national television? No, does it deserve to be on national television as opposed to regional television? That's what I'm saying.
I know, and that's a question that's hard to answer. I think the entertainment value obviously is there, but here's what I would say to your friend, is it in Vancouver or wherever it was?
Victoria.
The game should be on. If you think the game should be on national TV, then you need to get the game on national TV. Right? If you think it should be on, then you need to put it on, which means buy the airtime and you can put it on national TV. But if you believe in something, you can't expect somebody else to think the same thing, i.e. the networks and the people in charge, right? So just because you think it should be on doesn't mean that they should go and do it. If you think it should be on, make it happen.
And just watch it on TELUS Optic TV and be happy again that it's on, because it drives my bus that the Western Hockey League games aren't on, but I feel like I'm the only one that cares, so I've moved on and stopped bitching about it. By the way, Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says, Wally was being a diplomat when he said he would have liked to coach Saskatchewan. Remember, he was once pelted with beer cans. Yeah, he deserved it. It was September 2008. I called the game, and I don't know, he might have been being diplomatic like Wally is. The older I get, you've heard me say this, the more I understand the Don Matthews of the world and the Wally Buonos of the world. We just, spew the truth. Don't suffer fools, and don't really care whose feelings we hurt. And in the case of Wally, like he was on this, last time Wally was on, which was like a month ago, he was like, I feel sorry for Saskatchewan. For the Riders now. I'm like, oh, I bet you do, Wally. I bet you do. Right? But I genuinely think he would have liked to coach Saskatchewan. That's what I'd like to take people at face value, but I know not everybody speaks the truth, like yours truly, and you too, Moose. Okay, I'll see you in hour 2. Get your NFL picks ready.
I'll be studying.
All right, the smiling Jim Barker is in next on this Football Friday on the eve of the CFL Division Finals. You're watching a Football Friday on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Port Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to mdsuperseries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues on a Football Friday, just from the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. No, I didn't forget the number. I was just reaching for my Sober Carpenter. Strawberry flavored. Sorry, raspberry sour. I just got them today. We all got to get blitzed on non-alcoholic craft beer right now. Brian in Hudson Bay says, good morning, Rod and gang. Only thing Rider fans have a say in is whether they buy tickets or not, and that's a problem right now in Sask. The bigger problem is O'Day, if he doesn't get this right. And Kirk in Toronto says, a very big hi, Rod. Who will have more fun than us at tomorrow's sold-out Eastern Final with blue skies, crisp temps, and a very loud and engaged atmosphere? Can't wait, as Chad Kelly says. Go Argos. Let's bring in Jim Barker to talk about it. They're saying the biggest crowd for an Argo game ever at BMO Field. Jim, what's the vibe? What's the buzz there?
It's pretty exciting. I think people are excited about just the kind of atmosphere that will be there. I mean, I was there when the first game that we played there, and there were a little over 20,000, but the buzz was fantastic. Well, this is just different. I mean, they have a chance to be the greatest team in the history of the CFL. 2 wins, 8. I mean, if they get 2 more wins, they'll have 18 wins, and you can't argue with that. I mean, you can talk about different eras, but you can't argue 18 wins if they get 2 more wins. So it's something that's exciting. I think that Toronto has bought into Chad Kelly and bought into what this team is doing. So it's going to be exciting. I'm actually flying out. I'm on my way to Winnipeg, the Western Final.
Oh, leaving town right when it gets hot. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I heard an argument today, and it's funny. They're like, no, this, even if they win, they're not the best team ever. The 97 Argos are. Flutie, this, that. 91, Rocket Ismail, obviously. Dunnigan, blah, blah, blah. No, the stats say this is the best team ever, period. Not just Argos, but CFL. Like, that's kind of what's at stake here, man. Would Ryan Dinwiddie lean on the history angle, or is it literally one game?
Well, I was the offensive coordinator of that 97 team, and I'd love for that to be the greatest team. Well, we were a great team, with Doug Flutie and his pinnacle year in the CFL, and he made everybody around him better, kind of what Chad Kelly's doing. But you cannot argue with numbers. I mean, you can argue with it was tougher then, or this, or it was that. Bottom line is, if they win 2 games and they have 18 wins and a Grey Cup champion, they will be the greatest team of all time. Regardless, I mean, people can debate it. That's what they're going to do anyway. But I'm, like I say, a member of that '97 team, and not a member, but a coaching staff member. And so again, you can't deny that. So it's an exciting time, and I think their players are very focused. I think they're very healthy. And I think Ryan Dinwiddie did a spectacular job down the stretch. Although, here's what's going to be interesting. Should they win this week and play Winnipeg next week, we're going to look back to that game in Winnipeg when everybody was upset that they didn't play Chad Kelly. Now, who gets the advantage there? The Argos Chad Kelly didn't get a chance to see that Winnipeg pass rush and Willie Jefferson and what they do. But by the same token, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will have never seen Chad Kelly live. And it's just different when you have film of your team playing a guy. So at the time, I thought they should have played him. But now I look at it and I say, wow, maybe Ryan Dinwiddie is just on a different planet than the rest of us.
Any chance of an upset? It did happen in 1989.
There absolutely is, especially if Montreal can get off to a good start. If they don't get off to a good start, it's going to be a long day for them. The second game they played this year in Toronto, Toronto got off to a good start and ended up beating them by 29. But the other games were close. So if they can hang close, not give up big plays, and not turn the ball over, they're going to have a great chance. Toronto's got to do what they've done all year, which is don't get sacked, don't turn the ball over. That's their thing. They're plus 27 in turnovers, which is 20 more than the second best team. They're, I think they've given up 18 or 19 sacks. That's almost 20 better than the next best team. So if they continue to do that, they're going to be a difficult team to beat. But, again, this is a different deal. This is a playoff game, and I think they're going to be, I'm not going to say rusty, but it's been 3 weeks since Chad Kelly played. He didn't play in the last game. So he had that week off. He had last week off, and now here he comes in and play. If he starts slow or there's any kind of an issue early, that's Montreal's opportunity. They need to get off to a fast start. They need to believe within their own team that they can beat this team.
The West Final. Winnipeg favored by 5 at home over BC. I know you football people aren't interested in the point spreads like us and what we do over here. But any chance of an upset there? The odds would tell you there's a better chance, man. What would have to happen for that to happen?
Well, I mean, you got to remember now, Winnipeg's a big question mark. Rasheed Bailey could be out. Dalton Schoen is out. Nick Dembski's a big question mark. So those guys, when Bailey and Dembski haven't practiced all week, that's going to have an effect on their offense. So now it's interesting to think about, what are the coordinators going to do? What's Buck Pierce going to do in terms of, okay, what are they going to do to us if we don't have our base receiving core? Now, they signed Markeith Ambles a few weeks ago, who's kind of a Rasheed Bailey kind of guy. He does all that dirty work. But Zach hasn't been with him. And when the quarterback hasn't been with a guy, I think that's an issue. So I think there's a lot of question marks with the Winnipeg offense. What they do have is a healthy Zach Collaros. They didn't have that in last year's Grey Cup. So they have a healthy Zach Collaros. That, to me, is the most important thing for them. So it's going to be a great football game. If we see VA play like he did the first half last week, that was the best half of football I've seen in years. And he basically just dominated that game. He took it over, and he said, we're going to win this football game. He plays like that, the BC Lions have a better than good chance of winning.
You know, I got to ask you this. You talk about VA. Rushed for 3 touchdowns last week and threw for over 400. It was the greatest performance by a BC quarterback ever, statistically. What's flipped for VA? Because he's bounced around the league. We've all seen it. What's changed this year?
Well, I think he has a real confidence in what they're doing. The year, the year where he got traded last year, but he got a chance to watch Nathan Rourke and watch what he was doing and how I think he learned a lot from him. He may never admit it because Nathan Rourke's younger than him. He may never admit it, but I think he learned a lot from him. So I think that was big for him. I think he came in this year very, very confident in what they do. And yes, the last week, the biggest thing was his decisiveness. When he went to throw the ball, he threw it. And when a quarterback's playing like that, it makes receivers better. Receivers can't wait to get into a route. Again, their problem with Winnipeg, and I've said this last time they played on this show, is physicality. Can they match physicality? Their defensive line is small. They're going to be fast, and it's going to be a problem for Bryant and Hardrick. They're big tackles. That's a problem for them. And so they're going to have to be able to control those guys. Can BC's defense physically hold up to the offense? And can their offense physically keep Willie Jefferson at bay, keep him away from VA? Can they keep Jackson Jeffcoat away, Adam Bighill? I mean, their defense is intact. So he's going to have to play that team is going to have to play at a more physical level than they have, I think, because playoff football, playoff time, even though we're going to have good weather in both places, it's supposed to be 2 to 3 degrees, not snowing. Even though there's going to be good weather, it's still, this time of year, physical football wins. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
John Ohm in Winnipeg says, Jim must be at the Toronto airport. In which restaurant are you in, Jim?
Mill Street Organic, right across from my gate.
Oh, good. Fantastic burgers there. Fantastic burgers at that spot, as you probably know. Okay. What wins, game planning or players? Because yesterday we had Jeff Fairholm on the air, and I said, 89, you guys upset the Riders, upset the 6 seed and 2 Eskimos. How? He said game planning. So how important is that in these games tomorrow?
Oh, there's no doubt it's important. There is no doubt that Jordan Maksimic, and he's got to have a plan to allow VA to do what VA can do. Again, the Buck Pearson and Ryan Phillips, that matchup, especially with the injuries Winnipeg have. I think game planning in the Winnipeg-BC game is much more crucial. Players always ultimately are going to win. That's ultimately, I believe, best players ultimately win, and that's where physicality and those kind of things come in. In the other game, the Toronto game, again, Toronto is a team that believes in what they do. I'm not sure there's a lot of scheming or game planning. I mean, Noel Thorpe is who Noel Thorpe is. He's been in this league since I came in the league. He was here in '96 in Montreal with me. So he's been in this league a long time. He knows what he wants to do. There's going to be no surprises, and it's going to come down to the same kind of thing, physicality. I think that when they signed Sankey, Montreal, they moved up a level in that category, because I thought they had no chance against Toronto earlier in the year when they didn't have him. He gives them that. When they were playing Avery Williams at one linebacker and Beverett at the other, they were so small inside, it was tough. Sankey gives them that physical look. It's going to be interesting to me to watch whether they go with that 3-3 look where they got Avery Williams and Sankey in the game at the same time, but they have to take out Sewell, or if they go with the 4-man front with Sewell and Mustafa Johnson. That's something to watch because it will tell a lot. If they go with that 3-3 look, again, I think that's because they're going to try to run around him and they're going to try to, outsmart them. If they go with the 4-2 look, they think they're going to have a chance to physically hold up against them. So that's going to be a real interesting ball game too from a game planning standpoint. So again, as a lifelong coach, I'm going to always say, game planning is so vital, which I believe it is. But as a former GM, players win.
Right. Tillman said, players win and coaches lose. And I just used that again this week.
That's typical of a GM that never coached.
Jim, thank you for this. Safe travels. We'll be watching as always.
Great. Thanks, Rod.
CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. We'll break here. I'm going to take a sip or two of this Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer, which they shipped me from Montreal. Dagnabbit, is it good? This is the Raspberry Sour, brand new. Ask for it by name in your local beer, wine, and spirits store. Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. And I will tell you that the Jim Barker interview is brought to you by our friends at EMJ Marketing. They'll find the perfect keynote speaker for your event, including Jim Barker, who is on their all-star roster. Want to know more? Look up Joe at emjmarketing.com. And I should tell you that the text line is open. It's brought to you by Sober Carpenter, 902-518-3033. That's 902-518-3033. Again, Sober Carpenter brings it all to you, non-alcoholic craft beers. We'll be right back on this Football Friday. We do have some hockey stuff next that I do want to talk about. In football, we'll keep it rolling if that's what you'd like. Got a lot of messages here to get to. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We call them Football Fridays, and for many of you, it's your favorite day of the week on the RP Show. I do have to say this. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, I'm sold on Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic beer. I love it. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I love it too. I would not steer you wrong. I mean, you want to endorse a product that you use. Manscaped, Sober Carpenter, all the various things that we do. We endorse the CFL. There are HelloFresh. There are some companies that it just wasn't a fit. But this certainly was. So thank you, Wayne. Personal messages here. I could sit here and read text messages and streaming messages from the audience all day, and I just might. My childhood best friend writes in. Where the heck is it? Vaughn, where are you? Here it is. Vaughn, happy Football Friday. My favorite day to watch. Enjoy the Hurricane Connor game. Hashtag RP. Hashtag SP. I don't know what the SP stands for. But that's okay. Let me get into the serious stuff. Placeline, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Jagger Furcus scored the game-winning goal, 132 into overtime, and the Moose Jaw Warriors edged the Brandon Wheat Kings 4-3 Thursday night in WHL play. It was the only game in the league. Two Canadian teams will match up as part of a 6-game slate in the NHL tonight. The struggling Toronto Maple Leafs play host to the Calgary Flames at Scotiabank Arena. After starting out the year 6-2, the Leafs have dropped 5 of their last 6. Most recently falling to Ottawa 6-3. Flames, meanwhile, are on a 2-game winning streak. I'm calling it the Boston Pizza Bowl. If you don't know why, it'll take too long to explain. But who wins the Boston Pizza? Who wins the Boston Pizza Bowl tonight, Clark? Who wins, Clark? What do you think? I'm saying Flames. You'll go Leafs, of course you will. That's your team. Brad Treliving is the GM of Toronto now. Last year, he was the GM of Calgary, and his dad, Jim, is the founder of Boston Pizza. Look it up.
Bingo!
Hamilton Shea Gilgeous Alexander looks to lead his Oklahoma City Thunder to their first victory in NBA in-season tournament play tonight. Oklahoma City dropped its first contest in West Group C action to Golden State on November 3rd. I don't even know what the hell this is. Clark, do you know what the in-season tournament is in the NBA? I got to look it up. Clark says they play random games and call it a tournament. That's what it sounded like to me. The other night I was watching the Heat game on television. They have this trophy on the floor. It's for this in-season tournament. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm open-minded enough. I'm all for progress, I guess, if that's what it is, but why? Sports Updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. Turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas now, 5 nights at Freddy's. Could you survive 5 nights? The terrifying horror game phenomenon becomes a blood-chilling cinematic event as producer Blumhouse brings 5 nights at Freddy's to the big screen. It just sounds scary, doesn't it? It's in Landmark Cinemas as we speak. To the text line, 902-518-3033. While I load up the text, Serena's not a movie person. I am. So I usually go to the movies when I'm in Canada on my own. I don't think there's any substitute for going to the movie theater. I love it. Paul Bernstrom writes in and says, he's in Saskatoon. He says, hey, Rod, I found your show by accident. Missed you. How much do you think the weather will affect BC? Well, thank you, Paul. Here we are. I don't think the weather's going to affect BC at all. What are they saying? +2, last I heard. I don't like when they say football's meant to be played in bad conditions. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh, it's a great question, Paul, that I could sit and talk about forever. Because when you have weather, it's not always the best team that wins. So to be honest with you, statistically, BC is not the best team going into this game. All the numbers would point to that. It might be a benefit to BC if the weather's bad. You know what I'm saying? Perfect weather in a dome, dry turf, the best team will almost always win. But outdoors, frozen turf, rain, sleet, hail, whatever, it's an X factor. And from what I'm hearing, weather will not be a factor. That'll probably play into Winnipeg's favor. That's just my guess. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, Happy Football Friday, Rod Squad. He's in Calgary, but he goes by Bomber Boy. He goes, I just want to give credit to the Oilers for almost pulling off the upset. Spicy. It's amazing how many people were tuned into the Oiler game because that was the toilet bowl. It would be very hard to explain to Americans why a lot of our viewers would be gripped by a hockey game between the two worst teams in the league. I mean, I get it. Most would not. And the Oilers outshot San Jose 2-1 margin and lost the game. Oh, they're bad. Interesting text has come in from Gary in Warman on the 902-518-3033 Sober Carpenter text line. He says, hello, RP. Hey, whatever has happened to the good coaches and the good goalies in the NHL? There are none left or very few. It's the craps. Gary and Warman. Sounds like a good old hockey guy to me. And the game, the industry can pass you by. And I feel like, Gary, if you and I were hiring coaches, we'd be hiring different people than are being hired now. I've said the last 4 or 5 years on this show, write it down, when they were coaching in the NHL, the best coaches were Joel Quenneville, Mike Babcock, and Dave Tippett. And all three are out of the NHL now, and we're not going to get started on the Babcock Holy War. Does it matter that he's always been good to me? Does it matter? Because when we talk about Babcock, people write me, hockey people, players, don't be friends with him. He's a blah, blah, blah. He's been good to me. I've been affected by a lot of narcissists. They've destroyed my life in a lot of ways that I had to repair, but I don't run around saying, don't talk to this guy, don't be friends. I don't care. You know what I mean? These people are still functioning. I move on. So anyways, would I hire Mike Babcock? No, which is another thing. Write this down. When Columbus hired him, I said, I'm surprised. I wouldn't hire Babcock now. I would hire Joel Quenneville, and I still don't know what happened with Dave Tippett in Edmonton. People that I trust in Alberta, hockey people, say that the players got Dave Tippett fired, and you know who. Who would have the most clout in the Edmonton Oilers dressing room to get the coach fired? Yeah. And now they don't like this guy. I swear to God, Ken Holland's got to sit down with those core guys in Edmonton and go, what do you want? What do you want? Something ain't working. I don't know why we keep getting sucked into the Oilers. That wasn't exactly your question, Gary. I understand. And you say, why are there no good goalies? Well, there are great goalies. They're not Canadian, which is another problem. I love watching Sergei Bobrovsky. And I know it's a football Friday. We got a break also. I know that. Two of the best goalies in the NHL are Russian, and they live here. Sergei Bobrovsky and Andrei Vasilevsky. They're fantastic. You've seen that, right? Better question is, why are there no great Canadian goalies? That hurts. We'll be back with more Audience Takeover. Next hour, Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argos, and Joe Madden from the SportsGrid, sports betting expert. She's very popular with our audience. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I understand that it's not for everybody, but I got to say I'm loving South Florida a lot. And the reason I bring that up is that a debate has broken out for those watching in the streaming crowd, YouTube, about the elements and playoff football games and what's the best amongst the Rod squad. I kind of feel sorry for my good friend Vaughn because he's now been hooked into the show. He didn't even know about the show until it appeared on his cable television in that Shaw free preview this fall. Now he can't get enough. They're asking, would you rather see a game in a snowstorm or good conditions, I guess. And Vaughn says, well, in 89 in the snow, obviously. Yeah, well, we talked about it yesterday. The 1989 Grey Cup. Even the losing team, Hamilton, agrees. Rocky DiPietro said on this show it was the greatest Grey Cup ever. It was played indoors at Skydome in front of whatever it was, 60,000 people. Saskatchewan won 43-40 on a last-second field goal by David Ridgway. Was not played. Now, yes, we remember the ice bowls and the fog bowls. We remember all that, too. It's all part of the history. But if you got to make a choice, I want to watch games in ideal conditions. 33 degrees Celsius here right now. Look it up. And tonight I'm going to my good friend Matt Dubuck's high school football playoff game, Cardinal Gibbons High School against Stranahan, 7 p.m., Bud Type Field. See you there. We'll be sweating. You know what I mean. That's what I like, but I guess it's not for everybody. You want to go sit and freeze your ass off? Like, the guy wrote in earlier and asked about conditions. Does it favor or hurt BC? We're getting old here, but 2010 CFL West Final. It was minus 27 at McMahon Stadium. Why anybody went to that game should be have their heads examined. Saskatchewan Roughriders at Calgary Stampeders. I called the game and felt guilty for being indoors. It's the one time I really liked the McMahon Stadium press box, believe me. And anyways, there was, if you remember, Jarrell Freeman saved the game. He went on to the NFL after that, Colts. But Ryan Grice-Mullen, who set a record the year before for either punt return yards or kick return yards while with the BC Lions, he muffed a punt. The thing was a flippin' block of ice, fumbled it into our end zone, and had Jarrell Freeman, our linebacker, who was on the return team, if he had not jumped on the ball, we'd have lost the game. But we won it. We went on to the Grey Cup, where it was even colder there all week. But there were good crowds in both places. I heard some people like that. But it makes the games unpredictable. More unpredictable, because what games are predictable? None. That's what we love about it. But I'd rather be in ideal conditions. Cole in Victoria, BC says, hey, Rod, what's your opinion on Grey Cup and Vanier Cup being hosted on the same weekend in the same city? Well, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. We've seen it happen twice, but you run into a problem here. I've seen it happen in Toronto in 2007. Saw it happen in Vancouver in 2011. You get great crowds at the Vanier Cup. For those that don't know, that's the Canadian National University game. That's awesome. But then you play Grey Cups in Saskatchewan and Manitoba and Calgary and Edmonton, and it's, again, you have like what happened in 2003? Was it 2003? Whenever it was in Saskatchewan, the Vanier Cup, people almost died. And CIS at the time, now U Sports, said we're never going back there. Because it never going back. So the problem is you have the domes, or you have milder climates in November. That's great. But what happens when you got to play on the prairies? And somebody might literally die. So you can't do it every year, unfortunately. We will continue this. We'll continue this. People are spicy today. Joe Madden and Mike Hogan next, and next hour, and Moose 2 right after this break.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's very clear to me. What I say last hour, Darren, I see things before everybody else, and everybody calls me crazy, and then what I say comes to fruition, and nobody comes back and apologizes and goes, yeah, you were right.
How about that?
Like, I mean, nobody. But I'm used to it. I don't get upset about it anymore.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
You betcha. Do not adjust your sets, everybody. The host is in a robe and crown. You can know that only means one thing. We'll be playing Bet Regal Deal or No Deal coming up here in hour 2 of a Football Friday on Game Plus Television, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live. I'm in South Florida. And Moose is not. He's in Vancouver, where he's getting ready to broadcast the Hardy Cup on Saturday. Hi, Moose. Why is it... Listen, I get all the good gifts. I get the Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer, which I'm going to get blitzed on this stuff today. This is the brand new Raspberry Sour. And when I'm done that, I got a IPA ready to load it up and ready to go. The sweat's just dripping off that thing. And, yeah, but I get that, but then I get this shipped to me, too, and I dress up and look like a donkey. So you understand it's,
I don't know about look
half
like
and half.
a donkey. I think it looks pretty good on TV.
It looks, I hope the people from Bet Regal are watching. Hi, Allie. I saw him posting on LinkedIn this morning, so at least we know he's alive. Hey. 902-518-3033 is the number to text us here. Our text line's brought to you by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for it by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. And thank you, Wayne in Victoria, BC, for taking our advice on looking it up. And I knew you'd love it. I knew you'd love it. Cole is watching, by the way, in Victoria, BC. He writes in and says, hey, what's up, y'all? Great show as always. Glad I'm able to catch it live. Could Rod and Darren please... I didn't say please. He says, could Rod and Darren talk a bit about the Canada West OU Finals tomorrow? We did last hour, Cole. Rewind. We spent 5 minutes on it in segment 1. I know Darren says, just don't answer those questions when they can. Well, no, we talked about it last hour. So I appreciate the suggestion, but we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. And that is the NFL Week 10 Deal or No Deal. Let's go, Darren. It's for our official betting partner, BetRegal. Sign up for free this weekend and get playing at BetRegal.net. I give the point spreads. Darren decides whether he's going to take the bet or not. Are you ready, Darren? Let's go. It kicks off Sunday morning. The Frankfurt games continue. It's the Colts versus the Patriots. Indy's favored by 1.5 against the Patriots. Deal or no deal by you?
No deal. I'll take New England to bounce back.
Okay, no deal from Moose. I'm taking the deal. I'm a believer in Gardner Minshew. Cleveland versus Baltimore, and what's really the game of the week. The Ravens are favored by 6.5. Deal or no deal?
Big spread. I'm going to take the deal. I just believe in Baltimore, and I think they'll have their way with Cleveland.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are on a roll. The Bengals are favored by 6.5. They've won 4 in a row. Deal or no deal?
Deal. I'll take a deal. It's a tough one because C.J. Stroud could keep this game close, but I'll take the deal.
It's a deal from Moose, no deal from me. How about this one? New Orleans at Minnesota. Vikings have won 4 in a row, but the Saints are favored by 3. Josh Dobbs gets his first start now after coming off the bench last week. Deal or no deal? Saints by 3 at Mini.
No deal. It's in Minnesota, and I'm a Josh Dobbs believer.
No deal here, too. Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are favored by 3.5. Deal or no deal?
Yeah, I'll take that. At home, Steelers will win.
Yeah, they're rolling. Your Tennessee Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are favored by 1. Deal or no deal?
I think Will Levis will continue to get better, so no deal. I think the Titans will win that football game.
I'm taking the deal because I'm a Baker fan.
Yep.
And as the betting experts will say, stay away from the narrow point spreads. Game of the week, San Francisco at Jacksonville. The 49ers are favored by 3 on the road. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to say deal, just because I trust Kyle Shanahan and that offense to get things going and get things right.
Not me. Jags have won 5 in a row. I'll take the Jags at home. Atlanta at Arizona. Hashtag rise up. Falcons favored by 2 at the 1-8 Cardinals. Kyler's coming back. Deal or no deal?
I'm really stumped. I don't think Kyler will be able to really change the fortunes of the Cardinals in one short week. He's going to take some time to get back. So no, give me the Falcon.
Me too. It's a deal. Detroit Lions at the LA Chargers. Lions favored by 3.
You got a deal from me, dog.
Yeah. Chargers continue to be a grease fire, despite them winning last week, but it was just against the Jets, which they're on my list. How about this one? The whoppingest point spread of the week. Chris from the Bronx. His New York Giants are at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 17 in this NFC East battle. Deal or no deal?
No deal. When you get those division games, no deal. Dallas will win double digits. But the division games, that's for some reason, division opponents can always seem to keep games close.
I got a bet with Chris from the Bronx. He just wants to know if DeVito, I think that's the quarterback starting for the Giants. I think DeVito, does he even make it to halftime? That's our bet on a chicken sandwich.
Danny DeVito?
I think it's Tom DeVito, I think, but he looks like Danny DeVito.
Might as well be Danny, yeah.
Washington at Seattle. The Seahawks favored by 6.5. Deal or no deal?
In Seattle, I got a deal for me.
Me too. The New York Jets, the Gotham Green at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Jets are favored by a narrow single point. Deal or no deal?
No deal. I think the Raiders have got something going here with Pierce after getting rid of McDaniels and company.
Yeah, same here. No deal. And lastly, Monday Night Football, Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. pretty key AFC matchup there. The Bills are favored by 7. Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal, but I think this one's going to come down to the end. I'll take the deal, though.
The Bills at 5-4 already have as many losses this year as they did all of last year, but they're playing Denver, and I think they'll cover the 7-point spread. There you go, deal or no deal for our official betting partner, Bet Regal. Sign up and start playing this weekend for free at betregal.net. I'm getting out of this because I'm dying.
Yeah.
Okay, Reg Dunlop is watching. He writes in and he says, the wise guy, Tommy DeVito. Oh, that is just a classic New York name. Just a classic New York name. I see some interesting comments coming in on the CFL Division Finals, and if we have time, we'll talk about that. We got Mike Hogan coming in next, the voice of the Argos, for a good time, not a long time. He's a busy guy. It's the day before the East Finals, so we appreciate him. And Joe Madden coming up in the segment after that, betting expert. She'll talk CFL and NFL. I was telling Darren this before the show. It is the Rod Pedersen Show. You got to hear my stories. I'm getting my hair cut yesterday. I don't know if you were blown away by this, Darren. I certainly was. The gal cutting my hair, Melissa, good friend of mine, she's like, oh, yeah, I cut Robert Kraft's sister's hair. She was just in here this morning. I'm like, what? Which you should never turn your head when you're getting your hair cut like that.
Your eyebrows are gone.
But I said, what?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how surprised I was. And she's like, oh, yeah, Robert Kraft's sister comes in here. And our receptionist is a huge Patriots fan, so Lisa, they got an autographed Patriots helmet to Lisa. Robert Kraft got that for her.
Wow.
And I said, well, isn't that something? And she goes, well, if you ever see a little lady in her 80s with blonde hair and a bob cut around town, that's Robert Kraft's sister. I'm like, that's every woman in Boca Raton, Florida. That's every woman. Little old lady in her 80s with blonde hair and a bob. That's every woman in Boca, except for Serena, which one day she might be. I don't know. I feel we're getting closer
to bob cut.
Oh, she used to. Very cute on her. Very cute. I'll send you pictures. For whatever reason, she doesn't want to do it anymore, but it is what it is. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in regarding the West Final. I don't know, man. He's saying Dalton Schoen out for the Blue Bombers. Was he not last year's Rookie of the Year in the CFL? If he wasn't, he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And star slot back Nick Dembski is a game-time decision. He says, I'm starting to smell an upset in the West Final. Before we even get into any of that, are you with me? Like, for me, the East Final is where it's at. But I'm not saying I know everything. What's more intriguing to you, the West Final or the East Final in the CFL on Saturday?
I'm going to go with the majority of the viewers and say the West Final. I think there's just so much intrigue in terms of, like, they played last year, but it was Nathan Rourke and it was an 8-point game. I think there's a lot of, can Vernon Adams get it done on this big stage? The first test was the semi, got that done. Looked really good, obviously, but that's a controlled environment inside BC Place. Now you're going to Winnipeg, Tough.
1:11 Eastern.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. Sorry to interrupt. Everybody knows we just stop our day.
Yes.
When the numbers all align and we get into an alignment. Wayne in BC says that's a bunch of Golden Girls in Florida. LOL. There's a reason they did the show on it. And interestingly, if you want to look it up, which you won't have time because you're getting ready for a national broadcast tomorrow, or I guess a regional championship football broadcast. But when you have time, there's a restaurant that just opened. It's called the Golden Girls Kitchen. I think that's what it's called in Miami. And we're going. Serena came across it and made a reservation. And I can't remember all the items. You have to pre-order, and then they sit you by times. It was Sophia's lasagna, Blanche's Reuben sandwich or something like it. It's all bing, 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 bing. And you can just imagine Dorothy's,
Well, it'd be Blanche's bolognese. It would be Dorothy's Denver sandwich. It would be what else?
Whatever it is. Yeah. I was thinking of fish. Blanche's snapper. So we have a reservation later in the month. Is Grey Cup earlier, by the way? Doesn't that feel like it's sneaking up on you?
It does. Really quickly. But I don't know if it's any earlier in the calendar, but it definitely feels like it. I mean, when it's going to be on that weekend, 18th, 19th weekend, it feels like it's sneaking up. I remember it being, 24, 25, 26, right, of November. But seems earlier this year.
It does. Well, I'm sure that it is. What's today? 10th, 11th, 12th. So they're going to be playing it on the 19th. Yeah, so it's a week earlier. Yeah, people liked my comment. I'm just crushing these Sober Carpenters. Moose, you got to try the raspberry sour when you get a chance. Everybody, Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. They sponsor our show and the text line 902-518-3033. We only got Moose for a couple more minutes, then we're going to roll. As a matter of fact, guys, tell me when Mike Hogan logs in. We'll get to him right away. We'll go to commercial. Oh, he has? Okay. Moose, you're done. I'm going to crack another Sober Carpenter. You got business to do, so go do it. Have a great call tomorrow.
Text line.
Break a leg, man. Enjoy Vancouver.
Thank you. Thank you.
The voice of the Argos, Mike Hogan, joining us next. Yes, Sober Carpenter brings you the text line 902-518-3033. We'll return in a moment on this Football Friday. Joe Madden on the way, too, from the SportsGrid. She's very popular with our audience. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates. View Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Fort Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to MDSuperSeries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Football Friday continues, and we're letting it out. We're talking about it all. NFL, CFL, Canadian university football, maybe a little college before we're done. But I want to welcome our good friend Mike Hogan, probably one of the busiest guys around, the voice of the Toronto Argos, does a lot of social media for them, PR, communications. It's the day before the East Final. Thanks, Hoagie, for hanging in. Thanks for the time. And I saw your tweet, largest crowd at BMO history for the Argos. How pumped are you, man? How pumped are you?
1 to 10, 708, roughly. Long time coming. You know, a lot of guys like you in the media wanted the Argos out of town long ago. So
yeah. Still do.
Well, we're trying to prove you wrong. That's all. And having fun doing it.
Are you
know, 25 grand.
Are you making?
You know,
yeah, go ahead.
No, just, you know, 25 grand in some markets doesn't sound like a lot, right? You know, Regina, Winnipeg get that on a regular basis. In this market, it's a pretty important mark to get by. Again, we've never been there before for the Argos. Attendance this year was up 25% roughly. 3,000 a game, I think, was the number. So there's a lot of work going. We're trying to get more people involved locally. We're really working on the youth of this area through minor football to get a younger generation involved in Argonaut football. And, you know, it's paid off this year. And I think people who came to a game or two this year and went, boy, did I ever have a lot of fun, are going, let's go to the playoff game. And that's kind of where the ball has to start rolling.
Hey, Hoagie, I want you to come back in the offseason when we have more time and explain that market, because I didn't think this could be done, and I'm not sold on that it's totally been done, but you can't argue with the crowd you're going to have on Saturday, so that's cool. Just, I'm equating it to the Florida Panthers here. We've seen the crowds of 2,000 to 3,000 over the years, but they go to the Stanley Cup final, and they pack it. Right? Like, it didn't take a lot. In Toronto, you could win a Grey Cup with the Argos, and it still didn't matter. It's not about winning, clearly.
It's not, but it helps. I mean, my first 2 years working for the organization were 4-14, and good luck selling those games after Labor Day on a walk-up. It's just not going to happen. So the winning is a part of it. There's a real positive culture around this team right now, and I know that's an overused cliche now in sports, but when your general manager is Michael Clemens, you know, that positivity is going to trickle down, and I think everybody is on board with that attitude. There's not a person in this organization that thinks, oh, this is a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. You know, ask my wife about how much time I spend working at home, but that's what it takes. And we've got an incredible ownership group with MLSE behind us, and this is going to work. Trust me, this is going to work.
I like it. I know what it is. It's work. I just, over the years, I haven't seen people willing to put in the work. I know you would, but you're one guy. It takes more than one guy. Pinball's 2. He counts for like 10, but still. Now, so we'll talk about it more in the winter. About this game, how has dinner or whoever's responsible kept your team from not getting big heads and saying the wrong thing? Because Fairholm was on here yesterday saying the Eskimos were yapping off on the media in '89, the 16-2 Eskimos. How did you guys prevent that from happening in Toronto?
Yeah, I saw Jeff yesterday. That was entertaining, and as he always is. You know how every team seems to have that one line. They've got a mantra, they've got a motto that they try to follow. The one here, there's 2 of them really. The main one is 1-0, and the other one is 2% better, which is get 2% better every day and go 1-0 every week. And they've really bought in here. You know, there are a lot of veterans on this team that aren't going to let guys start yapping. And those are the kind of guys that Mike Clemens and Ryan Dinwiddie and Vince Magri and Alex Russell and your pal John Murphy didn't want around. They want guys who are going to roll up the sleeve, come in, work hard every day, be professional, and think about that one game each week. And guys have bought in. Sometimes you can have a motto and guys talk a good game but don't live it. This team has lived it. It's a really, really hard-working professional. We have to work when it's time to work. We'll have some fun at night, but right now, everybody is focused on the game at hand, as they have been all week, and 1-0 has never been more important than it is right now.
Murph can do all the talking for everybody, so that's handled. You don't got to worry about anybody else doing any talking. Murph will do it. Now, what's interesting, too, if you saw the Fairholm interview, he said that Saskatchewan, beat Edmonton in the regular year. That's not the case here. I read the game notes, Hoagie. You guys swept Montreal 3-0. And you've heard this line. You're a football guy. Hard to beat a team 4 times. Shoot, they say it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I'm like, not if you're that much better. Is any talk about that around your building this week?
Not that I've heard, to be honest. 2 of the games in Montreal were exceptionally close. Damati Coxie scored big touchdowns in the fourth quarter in each game, one on probably the catch of the year in the CFL, and it took a late touchdown to Coxie, an interception, another Boris Beatty field goal, and a blocked field goal at the end of the game to beat Montreal on September 15th, which clinched the East almost 2 months ago, since the Argos have had a meaningful game, which is mind-boggling when you think about it. But Montreal is a really good team, and the people who are selling them short are making a mistake. It's a better team than played us in the middle of the season. Sankey has helped a great deal, rather. Lemon has added the pass rush that they've needed. It's a really, really good team, and people selling them short are making a massive mistake. I think this is going to be a whale of a football game.
I don't think there are many selling them short. Maybe there are. I haven't seen any. 50.
Oh, Fairholm did yesterday. What did he say? There's no way that he really sold them short. I'm thinking, Jeff,
Everybody thinks that, Hoagie. Everybody. This is the greatest Argos team of all time. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm sure there's no talk about that around your building. I haven't heard any of it coming out of your guys' building, but I mean, come on. Listen, that's another thing I want to talk to. Today's not the day, but down the line, how they went about building a super team. Because there's not huge personalities. People are serious. There's no Masadi, there's no Flutie, there's no... Who cares? They won 16 games. How'd they do this?
Hard work and great line play. Dinwiddie and his staff are fantastic. They had an advantage this year because the entire coaching staff came back. So there was that continuity. So many players at key positions came back. People forget Chad Kelly's a first-year starter. He hasn't started a game since he was at Ole Miss, aside from a game at the end of the season last year against Montreal that didn't mean anything in the standings. So what he has done this year is remarkable. He lost Curly Gittins Jr., the best receiver on the team, arguably, certainly the best Canadian. He lost him in mid-September to Montreal as well, against Montreal as well. So, what they've done here has been astonishing. They've been able to juggle the lineup, give guys rest down the last 6 games of the season. Even Chad Kelly missing the game in Winnipeg. What did that do? That gave Cameron Dukes and a lot of young guys the opportunity to come in, get used to the Canadian Football League, and take meaningful reps in game situations. So somebody had have gone down in the last 6 games, there was somebody there ready to take their place. And, that's been maybe the biggest part of this Argos team this year, is not only the frontline talent, but the depth behind the first team is not that much different than the guy that they're replacing. It's been a remarkable season.
Last one, Hoagie. I know I'll let you go. You're a busy guy, but for some reason, I've been listening to you since the 90s. I don't know why. I just have.
Because you're old. That's
How
why.
do you like... Not because you're entertaining or anything like that, but...
Yeah.
You used to you were on top of all the sports, man, and you're able to narrow it down to one and be the voice of the Argos. I've done exactly the opposite. You like this role better, obviously, or you'd be doing it, but it couldn't be more different than what you were doing before, right? Is this what you always wanted?
25 years, you kind of get, burned out of trying to watch every game. I haven't watched a Blue Jays game The first game I watched since I left radio in 2018 was this year, and it was their last game of the season, which was an interesting one to watch. I rarely watch hockey anymore. I'll watch the Raps. I enjoy that. I'll watch some golf. I'll watch, CFL, NFL, university football on both sides of the border. So, I think I got burned out of having to watch every Leaf game, of having to watch every Raptor game, or at least getting the highlights, or every Blue Jay game, where now I can just kind of kick the feet up, chill. I'm working in sports still, 7 days a week, usually during the season. I enjoy it, but it's different. And I just enjoy watching what I want when I want, as opposed to being force-fed. And I know somebody who would want to work in sports is going, my God, you're an idiot. How can you say that? Do it for 25 years, there's a little bit of burnout.
Trust me, I get it. Okay, Hoagie, well, I'm enjoying just observing your exuberance with these big games. So keep her rolling.
Will you give me two words on the way out? Give me 2 words on the way out. Go Argos. Come on.
Go Argos. Go Argos. Where can we sell out those last tickets? Are they gone?
I hope so.
Okay. He's not Ticketmaster. Thanks, Hoagie. Okay, everybody. Call the Did you call the ticket office anymore? I don't know. What do you got? You got to log on somewhere to buy tickets? Go to Ticketmaster. Sell that place out. Oh, he's gone? Do you have it? He's back. He's gone. He doesn't know.
Argonauts.ca. Trues are playing halftime. Trues are participating in a Remembrance Day ceremony before the game. Come to the game.
Okay. There you go. Thank you, Hoagie. Argonauts.ca. I had to ask him that question because I'm not joking. Do you remember? Do you people remember? You probably don't, that are old enough, when we had the satellite dishes back in the day. Thank you. We're coming up on the anniversary of grapes getting toasted too, I would think. Now that I think about it. But remember when we had the satellite dish? Well, they still do. I don't have a satellite dish anymore, but at the time in the 90s, you could listen to any radio station from across the country. And I had the opportunity to listen to any radio station, any show, and Hoagie was the one that I chose. I didn't know him. I was living in Regina, and there was nothing on the radio there I wanted to listen to. And Hoagie was on there, and they would bring on Chris Schultz. He would do Football Fridays. That might be where we stole this idea from. I don't know. And it's just interesting that he narrowed it down to being the voice of one team, and he just said how much he's enjoying it. Whereas with me, complete opposite. But anybody that knows me knows I've done everything completely backwards my whole life. Now I don't want to be locked down to one team. And just forgive me, guys, because I'm the only guy sitting here. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. I'm going to tell a story. I think it's pretty evident now that I'm doing what I want to do. But I was standing during Panthers training camp, standing there this year, like in September. And I've only done it one time. And simply the Panthers had said, hey, you're around. Would you mind coming to our news conferences and interviewing our players? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So I went one day. And it's not that I'm sitting there waiting for the coach. And I'm like, what am I doing? Because I've done that for 35 years. I don't want to do that anymore. I understand there was the local, ABC station and the kids, from FloridaPanthers.com and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I've been there, done that, don't want to do that anymore. And the real cool thing is we can talk about all the sports and go to a Dolphins game and sit in a suite with the agents and then turn around and Connor Bedard's coming to town and take a sponsor from the Cats and Bolts podcast to that game, which I am, Scott from the Diamond Lab. This is way better than being locked down and being the voice of one team. And I get that that's cool for a lot of people. It just isn't for me anymore at this point in time. And I'm glad Hoagie explained it the way that he did, because I never knew. He's done exactly the opposite. He went from being a talk guy in the mornings, this time slot, to being the voice of a team. And I did the total opposite. Let me know when Joe's in, guys. A sports update while we're sitting here. The Calgary Flames visit the Toronto Maple Leafs in one of 6 games In the NHL tonight, the Flames got off to a terrible start to the season, but have reeled off 2 straight wins over Nashville and Seattle. Toronto has dropped 5 of its last 6, including a 6-3 loss to Ottawa on Wednesday. Let's look back at last night because we have a minute. Things are only getting worse for the Oilers. Edmonton fell 3-2 to the San Jose Sharks Thursday night, who entered the game 1-11. Oilers have now lost 4 straight themselves. Fabian Zuterlund, Thomas Hertel, and Philip Zadina scored for San Jose. Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins replied for Edmonton. We talked about it right off the top of the show. Yeah, okay, so Joe's in. I'll wrap this up fast and break and come back with Joe. But, I mean, nobody knows what's wrong with the Oilers. If they did, they'd fix it. Nobody knows what to do next, so I'm tired of talking about it. I know it's the #1 topic across Canada. Like, holy smokes. Why? Oh, and Kyle Connor had a hat trick, added 1 assist, leading the Jets to a 6-3 victory over Nashville. We had to bring that up because we're very big in Winnipeg. Channel 1190 on Bell MTS cable. And Donta Foreman ran for a touchdown, and the Chicago Bears boosted their shot at the #1 pick in this spring's draft, beating the Carolina Panthers 16-13. They boosted their chances because the Bears own Carolina's the first-round pick, which will be #1 overall. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in theaters November 17th, 1 more week, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, starring Rachel Zegler and Tom Blythe. Joe Madden joins us next from the Sports Grid when we return on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a football Friday, and as such, we are talking football on the next to last weekend before the Grey Cup. And what would a football Friday be without Joe Madden from SportsGrid? I think one of the busiest broadcasters in the business. She joins us today from the home office. Joe, thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to jump right into this. You were the first to say a BC-Toronto Grey Cup the last time you were on with us when we were at the wonderful Century Downs. You sticking with that, my dear?
I am. I'm absolutely. I think BC has every opportunity to pull off the upset win here. And Toronto, this team is so phenomenally strong. I can't see Montreal pulling off that upset. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I don't see the upset coming. So I'm sticking with that prediction, Rod, for sure.
Well, I don't forget these things. My predictions all suck. Yours do not. And I should remind people, this was like mid-August. You were a long ways out. So it's not a small thing that we're down to the Final Four and you have your teams. What was it that you saw and continue to see in, we all know Toronto's fantastic, but what do you see in BC that you like so much?
It's the overall balance with BC. I really like Vernon Adams Jr. here and everything he brings to this team. And this team's will to never give up in these games. They're able to bounce back off those coming games, and I love the fighting spirit of this team. So I think they have every opportunity in this one to play a really hard game here. I know it's going to be a tough one, but this team is one of those teams that's able to break through that offensive line that win and be able to get to Zach Collaros. And I expect them to be able to do it in this one. I expect the defense to hold tight in this game, force those turnovers, and give BC the chance to get the win.
Follow her, folks, at Joe Madden Sports, because she gets a lot of engagement on her CFL play. I mean, she does all sports, but she gets a lot on the CFL. Do you want to branch out? You obviously have the lady balls. Do you want to go right out and say who's going to win the Grey Cup, or would you rather wait a week?
Ooh, Toronto. I got to still give it to Toronto. BC and Toronto in the finals. Chad Kelly has been so phenomenally strong, and I can't go against him in this situation. I think this team is the most balanced team in the whole league. Chad Kelly's been so phenomenally strong. Offensively, this team's able to get things done, and their defense is able to shut down their opponents. So I think the final, it comes to Toronto getting the win, but not an easy one. I see them winning it by a field goal.
Wow. You make your living on betting advice, betting talk, and do a great job of it. I watch it a lot. But I got to ask you, people are asking me about the weather and how it affects these games. How does it affect what you do? I mean, thank God it's going to be decent weather, it sounds like, for these playoff games in the CFL this weekend. But pro football overall, college too, how does that throw a wrinkle into your job?
It throws a huge wrinkle looking at that weather, especially when you bring in wind into the effect. When you're looking just at a little bit of rain, these guys are normally stronger still offensively when that rain comes into play. We start to look at the defense's ability to make those quick turns on the field, and that's where the struggles come. But a little bit of rain, still strong offenses, you're still going to get those points on the board. Throw in that wind, though, that passing game, it cannot dominate anymore, and you've got to look at teams that are strong, being able to move that ball on the ground.
Do you check the forecast then this time of year for weather when you're making your betting advice and picks?
Yeah, you absolutely have to, because you don't want a hurricane rolling through somewhere and you're looking at a strong passing game. That's not going to work in your favor. So you got to look at the weather. And some locations in that dome, you know, looking down south in that dome definitely is a bonus when you've got weather, but they're inside.
All right, to week 10 of the National Football League, Joe, if you don't mind. I mistakenly, like our poll today is what's the game of the week in the NFL, America's game of the week, and I did not put on Cleveland at Baltimore. And as I look at this, that's got to be it. Unless there's a bigger game in your mind. Like, is that the biggest game of week 10 in the NFL?
I really think it is. You look at the Baltimore Ravens here at home, coming in as a huge favorite. Lamar Jackson's been absolutely phenomenal, and this team finally able to get, that big win after the struggles have come as Lamar, as the favorite at home, all of those stats against them. But coming off that huge win, that defense is playing absolutely phenomenal. But now playing the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland is so strong defensively. This is a defense that's able to keep them in those games. I expect the Cleveland Browns to hang tight in this one. I'm grabbing them plus the points. And you know what? I got to tell you, I'm going to sprinkle on that money line. I'd be shocked here if the Baltimore Ravens pull out a huge win, double-digit win. I think the Browns keep it tight, and I do think they have every opportunity of winning this one.
There you go, everybody. Take it to the bank. Ravens favored by 6.5 at Bet Regal, our official betting partner. I do have to ask you, though, about the one that I'm most interested in. It's San Francisco at Jacksonville. 49ers are favored by 3, yet they're on a losing streak, and the Jags are hot. What is this? Are you thinking the 49ers bust out of this? What's been their problem here of late in your mind?
49ers dealing with so many injuries. I do expect them coming back off that bye to come out really strong in this game. Now, can they cover the 3-point spread on the road is such a huge question here. Brock Purdy looking more human in these games, and Trevor Lawrence has looked phenomenally strong as of late, and he is a solid quarterback. So looking at this game, I do expect both of these teams to be able to put up the points on the board. I'm looking at this one to go over. Jacksonville at home, it's hard to look past as a dog grabbing all of those points, but I have a feeling that the 49ers come out and look like the 49ers team we all expect. This defense is so phenomenally strong. I do think they find a way to shut down Jacksonville and their offense, and they cover this spread on the road. It's asking a lot here. Brock Purdy has to come out really solid, but defensively, I trust the 49ers to be able to get them the win and the cover in this game.
I hope you're enjoying this chat as much as we do. You know we don't keep you for a long time, maybe 10 minutes, but we got a lot of Vikings fans that watch. And John in Winnipeg wants to know if you think the Vikings, forget about the point spread, can win against New Orleans on Sunday at U.S. Bank Field. The Saints are favored by 3. What are you seeing out of the Vikings with Kirk Cousins gone but still winning? This game and then the rest of the way.
Yeah, Dobbs came out so phenomenally strong in that last game after not even taking a snap with this team. It's unbelievable what he was able to do. Now, I could get behind the Vikings here. I'm still kind of out on this game. Vikings coming in as the dog at home in this one against the Saints with Derek Carr. We know those mistakes of Derek Carr and the Saints, but defensively, this team is so nice and solid out there. I want to grab the Vikings plus the 2.5, but I'm not completely sold on it at the moment. I don't know if Joshua Dobbs can come out and have as much success in that last game. It's shocking to me that they're still the dog after what we saw out of this team last week, but I tell you, the Saints defense is phenomenally strong. This will come down to mistakes by either quarterback Joshua Dobbs or Derek Carr. Which one's going to make those mistakes? Well, Derek Carr has been making so many as of late, so kind of why I'm flirting with the Vikings plus a point.
Straight talk, John in Winnipeg. Saints will win. And Joe, let me ask you this. When you're making your predictions and picks, how much weight, which I'm sure you do put in, a team coming off a bye and also teams coming off a win versus coming off a loss? Those have to be huge factors in your, point spreads and betting lines and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at a team like the Seattle Seahawks after being completely embarrassed in their last game out versus the Baltimore Ravens, only able to get a field goal up on the board. It's something you have to weigh into factor when you're handicapping these games, especially with a head coach like Pete Carroll, off those losses, how they come back, how they answer, and off those buys, teams that were unhealthy going into the bye had a couple of losses. I look for them to come out nice and strong off of that bye. Teams that rolled hot, though, into the bye, I think they lose a little bit of momentum. Hard to get back out there that week after that bye. So in some cases, I like to fade them. That's the 49ers this week, but this 49ers team, I'm not buying into it. I think this team healthier will come back stronger off that bye.
I really love the questions that come in when you come on, which, by the way, nobody's batting 1,000 in what Joe does. Nobody. But she's got one of the best batting averages of anybody I've seen. And Jeff in the zone writes in, he says, do you see the Broncos winning this weekend? They're at the Jets. They're at the Bills on Monday Night Football. Yeah, Bills favored by 7. What do you see happening in that game?
Can I put Canadian money or American money or pesos on the Broncos? No.
Monopoly
I don't
money.
trust this. Yeah, Monopoly money, maybe, but still, then I'd be out Monopoly money. I don't know if I can trust them here. The Broncos got that win over Kansas City, but that was because, we had injuries, we had illness there for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not buying into it this week. Them coming into Buffalo. Now, Josh Allen's been throwing those interceptions, so kind of a scary situation with Josh Allen and what we've seen out of him as of late. But Buffalo absolutely needs to get this losing streak under control. They need to come out. They need to have a big win and a dominant win. I think Buffalo on prime time comes out and wins this by double digits. If they don't, heads are absolutely going to roll. It's hard to go against Sean Payton not grabbing those points, but it's Russell Wilson as his quarterback until Russell Wilson is no longer the lead quarterback here for the Denver Broncos. I won't be backing this team. I don't trust him at all.
Jason in Red Deer from the Puck and Pigskin podcast says, my God, can Joe talk sports? Great insights and conversation. Well, Jason, you weren't around this summer. You weren't paying attention when Joe was on with us at Century Downs. I would suggest you go back and watch that interview because not only did we talk sports, but she told her very inspirational personal story that I think about quite often. Joe, lastly, where can people watch your stuff? Because you're one of the hardest working gals in sports show business. Tell the folks if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, thank you. You can follow me on all social media at Joe Madden Sports, and then you can catch me on a SportsGrid for all of my picks and predictions, everything on their site, SportsGrid, SportsGrid TV.
Good stuff. Joe, thanks. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games.
All the best, you guys. Good luck.
Joe Madden from SportsGrid, and as she said, Joe Madden Sports. Here's what's really going to blow your mind, Jason in Red Deer. She's in Calgary. We'll be right back with overtime after this. Get your questions and comments in. Sober Carpenter text line 902-518-3033. The streaming chat. And we'll return in a moment on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Fort Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to MDSuperSeries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a good day to have a good day. Hope you're having a good one. Overtime's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Check them out this weekend. It's a perfect time. Flames are on the road. What else you got to do? Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast, just a slap shot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. It is where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. Bet Regal, too. Overtime Hockey Lanes brings you overtime. Yeah, Overtime Hockey Lanes brings you overtime here on the RP Show, which we've already gone through the sporting update for Common Crown. Pardon me. Incidentally, another Calgary company. So we can do audience takeover the rest of the way. So you better get your dialing fingers ready, as we used to say in the radio business. Maybe they still do in that business. I don't know. Robert Campbell's watching in Las Vegas, and I appreciate him. He writes in and says, you've paid your dues in the business for decades, RP. Now you can enjoy a sports platform that suits you on your terms. And I'm so gosh darn grateful for that. Believe me, I sit just back and think, that's all I want to do every day is talk sports. And with this, at this time of day, I knew there would be a void for it, and we filled it, and we appreciate you all joining us here. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in and says, any press conferences scheduled in Edmonton today? LOL. There will be hours and hours and hours of energy spent and hot air blown over this Edmonton Oilers situation, but how much can you talk about it? Unless you're an Edmonton station, I'm sure Sports 1440 is going nuts. Was it today or yesterday? Like, I am ready for the weekend. How about you? Was it today or yesterday that I said the players got Dave Tippett fired in Edmonton? And Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and goes, are you saying Connor McDavid's a coach killer? No, that's what you're hearing. That's what you're saying. Bomber boy. I don't know why he says this. He's in Calgary, but he says, nobody boos a loser. What are you talking about? Nobody boos a loser? Everybody boos a loser. I don't understand, unless I'm missing something.
Hot take.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, with the comment of the week. People, before your games of choice start Saturday, please take a moment and pause to remember. Absolutely. Remembrance Day falls on a Saturday, and that will be a great moment of remembrance in those stadiums, certainly at 11 a.m., wherever you may be. Yeah, I think I kind of know where the Bomber fans are, and for that matter, the Argo fans, which I know that they have thousands of fans. We'd like to bang on them, but that's just because it's fun. Hoagie, you got to let it go that they said they need to move, that I said they need to move the Argos. You shouldn't pay attention to what I have to say. Write it down. But for those that really care and their teams that are involved in these games on Saturday, it's a long week of anticipation. Those 20 seasons I was voice of the Rough Riders, we were in the playoffs for most of them. Those were long weeks. And then the night before the game was very hard to sleep because we were very excited about the game the next day. And at least by this time, well, not this time tomorrow, but by Saturday night, we'll know whether you're going to the Grey Cup or not, which incidentally, the Grey Cup trophy is arriving on, I think it was Monday, courtesy of the Royal Canadian Navy. I think we've all established and know that I will not be able to attend the Grey Cup this year because of commitments here in the United States of America. But it's the only year that I won't. I'll guarantee you right now that I'll be in Vancouver next year. I got to be here. That's that whole thing where you see me for 2 hours a day, but you don't see me the other 22 hours a day. There's other stuff that I do that you don't know about. From Ryan in upstate New York, have a great weekend, Rod Squad. Remember, those who fought for our freedoms, and thank them. Also, I hope you enjoy whichever sports you partake in. Last minute of play in the RP show. Thank you, John Ohm. He's going off about the Jets, and he should. Tonight, if you want to know what I'm doing, because you asked, high school football playoff game, the Cardinal Gibbons High School Chiefs, three-time 5A Florida State champions, are home to Stranahan in round one of the Florida High School Athletic Association football playoffs. And my good friend Matt DeBuck, who brought me in to address the team, is the head coach, and we'll be at Bud Tite Field for a 7 p.m. kickoff, watching CFL all day Saturday, a little college, and then Sunday, Hurricane Connor touches down in South Florida. We're going. We got a gang going to Amerin Bank Arena to watch Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks up against the Florida Panthers. So it's going to be a great weekend. Thank you, Chad Glasser in Lethbridge. See y'all Monday right here, noon Eastern.
McFly, hello.